Two earth-shattering earthquakes have struck Colombia over the last 24 hours and will change the trajectory of that critical nation forever. As you can see here, buildings, churches, skyscrapers are collapsing into the ground. Look here, the city of Cali, major sports stadiums, millions of people living in it. You can see the dust rising from collapsed buildings way up on the mountaintop as a 7.4 magnitude earthquake has leveled the nation. You can see Colombia is a critical nation here, one of the most important in the world, and here's why. It is at the very neck of South America, connecting, of course, this land bridge between North and South America, a critical land bridge if you're looking to illegally migrate, let's say, into the United States of America, or bring in drugs, or bring in some other form of narco or literal terrorism. All of it goes through Colombia. You must be able to control Colombia to be able to subvert the West. And that is why it is critically important that a right-wing president, Abelardo de la Espriella, was sworn in as Colombia's president this weekend. This man is incredibly based, and he's running effectively on a security and public order platform, economy and state reform, in order to take the nation back from the communists. Why did he win? He won because he wanted to end peace negotiations with armed terrorist groups that control massive drug trafficking corridors throughout Colombia. Colombia is where the vast majority of the drugs in the West are made. He wants to destroy the crops that allow for them to make the drugs, and aggressive territorial recovery, and then putting all of the gang members in prison. He wants to build 7 to 10 maximum security mega prisons modeled after Nayib Bukele's approach in El Salvador. Liquidate or privatize aspects of the prison system and increase penalty for high-impact crimes. Reduce benefits for recidivists, combat extortion, specialized units, and strengthen cooperation with the U.S. Well, he's done that. The U.S. has given $1 billion to Colombia. It was a socialist hellscape for the last 70 years under a Marxist subversion operation for the West. And now, dude hasn't even been in office for 48 hours, and he's already killed 6 of the narco-terrorist leaders in massive raids throughout the country. So we've seen this before in El Salvador, and El Salvador is actually not that far from Colombia. El Salvador, right up there. Ding dong. So it's definitely in the neighborhood, right? El Salvador is the model, and he's following that model. 6 dead in De Las Espriellas' first offensive against FARC. This is the name of the cartel here. At least 6 members of the illegal armed groups were killed on Sunday, Colombia, during military operations against FARC dissidents, according to the president who took office. And he's going to intensify military actions against armed organizations and drug trafficking networks. You know, the government can do really cool things because it has a monopoly on violence. And if the government is able to be properly targeted against an enemy of the people, it can really do its job, the job that the government can do that nobody else can do, or at least I don't think you would want anybody else to do, is violence. What do I mean by that? We pay taxes so the government defends our borders. We don't have to worry about Mongol hordes invading our neighborhoods, coming into our homes, raiding us, killing us. Our military is so strong that nobody would ever dare do that. Now, that contract falls to pieces once the government brings those Mongol hordes, the third world barbarians, into our home in the name of, I don't know, compassion, money laundering. Nobody's ever explained to me why they do this, but they do it and they love it. And they do it for power, obviously, because the Mongol horde, you can get them to vote, or you can harvest their ballots, and you can destroy our countries from within in this capacity. So the contract breaks down there. But ultimately, the point is that you should be able to use the military in order to ensure that the people who want to function in your society are safe and can do so. Now, you can't use the military to fight an earthquake, and that's what's happening right now. This is the #1 trend in the world. Terrifying footage shows church collapsing. Huge 7.4 magnitude earthquake hits Colombia, burying people beneath buildings. Look at some of the... Look at this. This is insane. Crazy. End of the world stuff. Goodness. This beautiful Catholic church. Wow. So this is where the 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck. See here along the coastline. And you can see entire buildings destroyed. Very bad. Powerful earthquake strikes in Colombia. Look at this. Looks like a movie. Terrifying. More footage of Colombia shows part of the hospital collapsing. The ambulances below. Widespread damage. At least 20 people have been killed. I'm sure there'll be many more. 18 people were killed. Several of them trapped. Awful. Look at this. Airports. All airports in Colombia suspend operations after this massive earthquake. You can see here. Goodness gracious. Military training exercise at a firing range. Building just completely evaporated. That is nuts, man. That is crazy. And you can see here the clock tower of this beautiful church hanging on by a thread. I don't know how you even begin to compare that. Anyway, church destroyed, building were damaged. Patients were forced to evacuate hospitals after a just massive earthquake here. So multiple earthquakes happening simultaneously in Colombia. How is the brand new president going to respond to this? We stand by to support the people of Colombia, says Marco Rubio. The president says he's heading to Bogota to focus on the emergency facing our country, convene the command post, from where I'll personally lead the actions in communities in affected areas. Colombians who are going through difficult times, you are not alone. You have a president who cares deeply for you and will do everything to rebuild, he says. Okay.
En el desastre natural que hoy azota a nuestro sufrido pueblo colombiano.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, he has directly assumed emergency response, ordered the establishment of a unified command post. So he is in control. Incredible. Look at this. Another building collapsing. Crazy. Full. I mean, I'm not sure if you could call it a skyscraper. Wow. Whoa. So, a lot of people can use, you can use an opportunity like this in order to do really good things for your country. Obviously, in order to step in and step up when people need you the most and when they feel vulnerable, whether that's from crime, crime and terrorism, breakaway crime, or from the actual destruction of a natural disaster. So there's man-made disasters and natural disasters, both of them coming to a head at the exact same time in Colombia. So pray for Colombia. We've been following this new president. Pray for him. And this is, again, a critical corridor to control and to have to have peacefully and secure under the control of, people that want to see it prosper and that don't want to see it destroyed in an earthquake or through narco-terrorism. So you should want this. If you're an American patriot, if you're somebody who cares about the West and cares about the survival of the West, you need to control Colombia. You need to control Venezuela. You need to control these nations and these countries that can create the survival, frankly, of the Americas, that can reinforce the survival of the Americas. And so, ladies and gentlemen, pray for Colombia right now. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.